Union Budget 2026, Mr. Pati Singhania is joining us here from the FICCI headquarters. So, first couple of thoughts about Budget 2026. This wasn't really an Aam Aadmi, but more to do with a corporate leaning sort of reform Union Budget, to my mind. Your thoughts on this?
No, while it's certainly reform, and the finance minister herself talked about big reforms and continuing on that path, competitiveness, scale, all of that. But I think there was plenty for the Aam Aadmi also. It may not have been so apparent because when she said one of the major kartavya is also inclusiveness in a way, and for a lot of schemes for people, um, getting basic amenities, infrastructure, connectivity to the people. And there were a whole bunch of schemes. Also about creating jobs and skilling people. So while you can do the big things, which is the hardware side, you can create the infrastructure. We talk about scaling manufacturing. She specifically mentioned 7 critical or strategic sectors where we want to go and which are the right ways, because those are the areas where India needs to do much more. But unless you have human resources, it's not going to happen. So my belief is that the Aam Aadmi is very much a part and parcel of this budget, while it may not seem quote unquote populist in terms of SOPs.
If we talk, you spoke of the 7 strategic sectors, but two of these sectors that really, I think, have been priority are critical minerals and sort of considering the current global situation and turmoil, shipping and exports, etc. Developing our ports needs much more attention as well. Your thoughts on that, considering the current geopolitical turmoil?
See, I think if you look at the focus on some of these are forward-looking sectors, as at least critical minerals. And we have recently, the whole world has actually seen what some kind of geopolitics can do. So it's not the minerals themselves, but it is how they can impact entire value chains, entire sectors. And I think it's a very right focus in terms of enhancing and working on the critical minerals. And it's not only the budget. If you have seen the announcements that have come up in the last several weeks or months, they have been talking of that, including the tailings, etc., etc. Now, shipping is basic, and infrastructure, the cost of logistics, if we want to be competitive, it all feeds into costs. And logistics is a very major cost. It's been well documented that the cost of logistics in India is on the higher end, although it has come down in recent times. The finance minister also talked about, rail corridors. So it's not just shipping. She talked about internal waterways or coastal waterways. There's a lot of emphasis on that. So clearly, this all fits into it. You can't just do, highways and rail corridors and not do the waterways. So that's where this fits in.
And just last closing thoughts. Did the 12 lakh crore capex come as a surprise to you? And also, what was your top pre-budget wish list before budget 2026 came out?
I think the 12 lakh crores doesn't come as a surprise. It's a very good number. The reason is unless we're going to spend that money, we won't. But I want to make another point here. The point is that one of the major highlights for me was the fact that we are continuing on the path of fiscal discipline. The debt-to-GDP ratio is continuously coming down. And I think unless we have that kind of situation, we won't have the fiscal space to spend monies. And I think India is today perhaps a shining example of an economy, a major economy, which is showing fiscal discipline, prudence, and continuing to grow at a high rate, because that is fairly unique. You don't see that in other places in this global turmoil, as you asked. So I think, coming back to your question about what did I expect, I would have expected continuity, which this budget delivers. I would have expected vision and thinking, which, as we have seen in different aspects, this budget brings in. And it ties this in with focus areas, not only on big industry, but medium and small sector, people, skills, and some very interesting forward-looking areas like, carbon capture and usage. And this highlights major industries like, steel, cement, chemicals, etc., energy, because those are areas which there is global concern around that. How do we do that? So there are many things. And in the last part, I think the attempt to bring in more foreign capital, whether through FDI, data centers, or through even individual people to bring in, because the rupee has also been impacted by capital outflows from India, money going out. So this attempt is most welcome.
Many, many thanks for joining us here on India Today Group.
Pleasure.
Thank you.